Hey everybody, welcome to Snow Talk. Brian Good here. First off, look at our stats. No snow as of to date. But normal to date is 2/10 of an inch. So again, we're still behind normal, but at least we're not ahead of last year yet. Some good news there. I want to show this. Look at the visible satellite. This is the image from space as the sun is coming up. That's why it starts off dark, and then you can see the image as it animates to the current time. Let me freeze it. Look carefully. See these little lines, the eastern part of the state. This looks like that the contrails from the airplanes flying overhead are creating shadows onto the overcast cloud deck down below. So that's kind of a cool shot there from up above in space. So it's kind of a nerdy thing. Thought I'd share with you guys. Don't expect a lot of clearing today. Clouds are going to hold tough. Temperature's just not going to move much at all. All right, until we get some drier air to punch its way in here. This trough moving in, it's now moving through the Great Lakes, will help. By all means, it'll help shake things up a bit to get some improving weather tomorrow and certainly by Sunday. And then we deal with the branch coming in, a piece of energy for next week. It'll drop in from the north. At the same time, we get energy moving in from the south, and that's when the fun and games begin to kick in. So let's get to the snowboard first. I do have a rain or snow chance Wednesday and Thursday. I'll explain that in a second, and then on the 6th. So let's get right into the maps. This is the GFS. There have been some changes here in how this is likely to play out. First off, here's the northern piece diving in. It'll have a front attached to it. Now, the fronts may not be placed exactly as we have them drawn here, but in general, there'll be a front arcing its way in. It'll increase the rainfall, warm us up as well. But here's the key. Where is that front going to stop on Tuesday? Is it going to be to our east? Or is it going to be just to our west? Depends which model you look at. GFS and Euro tried to trend it more toward an eastern stall, and the Canadian came in with the Mississippi River basically still in the front. And that's important because that front acts as the train track for the new low that's coming in from the south, which will then emerge as we get into Tuesday into Wednesday. You see the issue here, because here's the rain-snow line. So if that track is to our east, we need to monitor the potential. Now the question is, too, is it going to take all the moisture with it if it's too far east, which is a possibility. And then when it's nothing is an issue for us. But if it's close enough, then we have to watch for the potential for maybe some snow or sleet on the backside of this. I can't see if it's going to be significant or not because we've got to figure out the track first. Then we'll deal with the details. But interesting setup, to say the least. Let's look at the model data here of the three, of the GFS, the Euro, and the Canadian. Here's GFS, Euro, Canadian. These are the ones that operate every few hours update. Here are the ensembles of those same models. Now here's the ones you look at. Look at where the bright yellow and the pale green meet. That's basically where the model would indicate where the front would be. This is going to be Tuesday night. GFS is the front pretty much right over Kentucky, central and eastern Kentucky. Euro has it more toward the Appalachians. And then the Canadian has it more toward southern Indiana into far west Kentucky. So you can see the differences that are showing up there on how progressive that front is. But you look at the ensembles. Now, GFS, it looks like the ensemble is more east than what it's showing on the actual. On the Euro, pretty close. Now, when you look at the Canadian, it has the east like the other two ensembles do, but it doesn't match the operational. So at this moment, the Canadian idea of it being more west is an outliner. And that is significant. And that will... something we'll have to just monitor. It's too early in the game. As I always say, it needs more time in the oven. All right, then we head into the 6th of December. Once again, same deal. Northern Branch feature dropping in. Here comes Southern Branch feature as well. GFS is trying to bring them in about the same time, which would then lead to a same kind of a deal that we're about to deal with next week. Euro is faster with the northern piece, gets here quicker, and then this one lags a little bit behind. It may take a long time, in fact, to get here if you go by the operational run. The ensembles of these at least show the same idea of there being a bit of a lag. So at least at the moment, there's still a decent amount of support that the Northern Branch feature, which is going to be your cold air supplier, is going to get here first. Then the question is, does this even get here at all? Or does it stall out in the south? Now, the thing is, the Euro has a tendency to really stall things out in the Southern Branch way longer than what ends up being the reality. And also the GFS has a tendency to be too aggressive with the cold shot that comes in from the north. So both of them are kind of playing against their biases right now, so it's hard to trust either one. Just know that that's what we're going to be watching for the first 10 days of December, seeing how that plays out. But it's a similar setup. Okay, so let's talk about the fall and the cold air. Where is it, and when's going to get here? When you look at the northern hemisphere, this is looking straight down onto the North Pole. What I want you to gather from this is over here is the polar vortex in pink. Best way I can word it: the coldest air in the northern hemisphere at the moment. This is Eurasia, or Europe and Asia. The United States is here on each one of these graphics. Okay, what you to notice is the current set at Malala, the pink, is over toward the Eurasia part of the country, giving Japan, Tokyo, its first snow on Thanksgiving in 54 years. In our area, just don't have it in the United States. That's like a no doubt. You guys know that. But then look at the bottom row. It's the ensembles because I don't have data for the northern row enough to be able to be used. But notice it's trying to show it becoming more cross-polar, trying to get into Canada finally by the mid portion of December. And that could be an interesting game changer because then our source of the cold air becomes colder than what we have now. We got stale cold now. Well, we could get cold coming into play, and that could get to be a little more interesting for the lower 48. We'll see. A couple of things you can look at too, other tools from organic forecasting that you can look at to see how the pattern will go down the road. One's called the Bering Sea Roll. It's a relatively new thing in the past decade. CPC uses it a lot. It involves the teleconnections, what happens PNC, and what happens 7 to 10 days later, some cases up to 30 days later, into our area. What you're looking at here, Kentucky will be here on each one of these maps, by the way. This is the surface map of the 10th and 11th of December, and here's the upper layers of the atmosphere. Notice it's trying to bring in a low on the 10th. All right, our low that I was showing you now that's moving in the northern branch features moves by, and by the 10th, we're on the colder side of it. And then look at there, we get that low trying to forecast moving the southeast part of the country. The wind flow looks to be southeast aloft, according to the Bering Sea rule. By the 11th, yeah, it's the low is in the southeast part of the country, but the flow is still easterly. So that could be interesting, especially if it's easterly flow at the surface. Could be a mixed precip deal here on the 10th and 11th. We'll see. And then you move into the 13th and 14th of December. It is showing very active storm track still got these southern features coming into play, trying to move it into the Ohio Valley on this one. And then by the 14th, same deal, but it would be more of a track for snow north and northwest of wave country if that kind of a setup happens. But the thing is, very active storm track, especially for the Midwest and Ohio Valley, based on the Bering Sea roll. We'll see what happens. And also looking at the Southern Oscillation Index, called SOI. Some of you guys have read this before. Mainly it measures El Nino and La Nina. What we look at is we want it to show an indicator of positive more than 7. And this is the latest measurement. It's a negative. Anytime we go into the blue, it tells us we get into a warmer pattern in our area. We've had that recently with the record warmth. And then we're about to see signs of it again, getting up to plus 12, in fact, by mid-December on the 10th. Another indicator that maybe we could see some cold air move in. So just some little fun tools to look at. Nothing is the give all and set all of the future here, but at least we have things to look at and help us and guide us in a somewhat right direction. All right, guys, have a good day. I'll see you on midday, and I'll see you again tomorrow morning for Saturday.